Ecuador, a country rich in beauty, history, and diversity, both culturally and naturally. Although being one of the smallest countries in the Americas, Ecuador is the leader in biodiversity in the world. Straddling the equator, with land spanning from the Amazon rainforest through the cloudy peaks of the Andes Mountains to the shores of the Galapagos Islands, Ecuador is home to an astounding variety of plants and animals that once inspired Charles Darwin's Origin of Species. Ecuador is also home to a remarkable variety of indigenous ethnic groups, with communities who still practice traditions passed on from their Incan ancestors, dating back thousands of years. Despite the richness of cultural and biological diversity, Ecuador is still a developing country, and the distribution of wealth is highly skewed, leaving around 70% of the population affected by poverty. In a country where even the basic necessities of life, like potable drinking water, is sparse, healthcare too has its limits to access, and in most cases, the quality is poor and the services offered are inadequate, leaving most Ecuadorians without even the most basic level of care. A serious medical condition among Ecuadorians is known as acetabular dysplasia, a condition resulting from a hip dislocation that has gone untreated. A very common practice for hundreds of years in Ecuador is for children to be swaddled at a very young age when going from place to place. While this makes for easier transport in this mountainous country, it is common for a child's hips to become dislocated and cause severe pain and immobility later in life. As a result, many people in Ecuador, young and old, suffer from this condition. With average salaries low and the cost of a hip prosthesis high, treatment is nearly impossible, leaving so many people to suffer, without any relief, without any hope. In Cuenca, a city high in the Andes, home of cobblestone streets, historic colonial buildings, and the Panama Hat, the Operation Walk team arrives. An orthopedic team of top-skilled medical professionals from London, Ontario, and Calgary, Alberta. They have made the several thousand-mile journey to spend a week addressing the problem that causes many Ecuadorians to constantly suffer, giving the poor people of Ecuador the chance to walk pain-free. However, the team's journey began many months prior to their arrival. For almost an entire year prior to the team's departure, numerous fundraisers and sponsorship drives were held to make the mission possible. Operation Walk received overwhelming support from businesses and the medical community. All of the team's supplies and equipment are donated by thoughtful organizations looking to lend a hand. The team itself is also a donation of time, skill, heart, and hope. The team is led by Dr. Jim Powell of Calgary and Dr. Bob Bourne of London, and consists of world-class orthopedic surgeons, nurses, anesthesiologists, physiotherapists, and interpreters who have all donated their time and expertise to give something back, to aid those less fortunate than ourselves, giving hope to people who would otherwise go untreated. Upon arrival at the hospital in Cuenca, the team is met by an astounding lineup of people, anxiously waiting to be seen. Some have traveled for over 14 hours, along with family members, in the hope of receiving one of these life-changing procedures. The patients have been identified by Dr. Manuel Avila, a warm-hearted family physician in Cuenca, who cares for the poor but lacks the means to treat them. Dr. Avila's compassion for his people was a strong driving force in bringing the team here to aid Ecuador's suffering inhabitants. This is an eye-opening scene for the team, and the mission's purpose begins to take hold. Without delay, the team begins its first task of setting up a massive clinic, and from the hundreds of people who have arrived, assessing those who can be helped in the short week ahead. Throughout the long day, it becomes obvious the Ecuadorian people's need for medical intervention is dire. The team hears countless stories from young and old of daily pain and the inability to perform the simplest of tasks, like walking or sleeping. Upstairs, other members of the team are hurriedly unpacking and organizing all of the equipment and supplies that made the long journey with them. Space and shelving is very limited, but the seamless efficiency of this expert team to run 2 simultaneous ORs over the coming days starts with the organization of their self-sufficient set of supplies into a system that will support performing as many procedures as they possibly can. During unpacking, one team member notices that a surgical tray has been contaminated from the customs inspection. The team must hurry and sterilize the tray so it can be used in surgery in a matter of hours. Meanwhile, the team works well into the night, scheduling those who have been identified as good candidates for treatment. It's the early morning hours of day 2 in Cuenca, and the team is back at the hospital where surgery is already underway. Like a well-oiled machine, this expert team works its way through case after case of painstakingly difficult procedures. One by one, the eager patients are brought down to the operating rooms. Like young Maria, a 17-year-old girl dubbed the Flower by the team. She has been in pain her entire life, and without this procedure would continue to suffer well into her adult years. But as all the pieces are coming together, the team hits a major obstacle. The hospital sterilizer is not working to keep up with the high amount of surgical instruments that need to be sterilized in order for the procedures to continue. Members of the team quickly take action and band together in the effort of washing each instrument by hand. This is just one of the many obstacles the team will have to overcome as they forge ahead. As the procedures continue throughout the week, so does the task of rehabilitation. The team's physiotherapists and nurses work with the treated patients to ensure a quick recovery. The team holds a seminar with the aid of an interpreter to teach the patient's family members how to make sure the healing process is successful once the patients return home, and to orient them on what to expect in the coming weeks. Throughout the remaining days of the mission, as the patients become mobile,
just tell her I hear she's doing very well.
a heartwarming sense of success floods the hallways of the hospital. The months and months of fundraising, organizing, and preparation have all led up to these moments. To these small steps. For these motivated patients, the dream of walking pain-free is becoming a reality, and their gratitude is easily noticeable as the bond with their caregivers is a special one. Many patients stood out to the team, like Angel, the quiet farmer from the jungle, who was badly injured and not properly treated after falling from a roof over 2 years prior. Or Luisa, the smiling woman who serenaded the nurses during clinic. And whose gratitude is one of many examples of the overwhelmingly positive impact this team has had.
When I am healed, I would love to come and visit you all in Canada.
After a week of surgery, 17 joint replacements, and many hours of therapy, the team begins wrapping up the mission.
We're making next year's operative list. We're at 13.
But not before heading up to the ward one last time to visit the patients before they travel home. It makes for many touching moments as smiles and tears of joy and appreciation can be seen all around. The Ecuadorian patients and their families are so grateful for the team's efforts and show it by presenting them with heartfelt thanks, gifts, as well as blessings. The Operation Walk team will be traveling back to Ecuador in the coming April, where they hope to follow up with their patients and continue their mission with another week of surgeries. Every member of the team has given a piece of their heart to the patients of Ecuador and has been deeply enriched by this wonderful experience. Gracias, Ecuador.
Thank you.
The mission would not have been a success without the generous support of Smith & Nephew and the following corporations: